Hello, hello, hello. It's Nicole. Nicole is making it happen. And guys, I am standing in until Reverend Gaston is able to get on. I thank you guys so much for tuning in to Servant Leadership 101 once again. Nice to have you back and nice to be a guest host again on the show. Reverend Gaston will be joining us shortly. But as always, we're going to go ahead and get started with our consumer tip for the day. So guys, I've been shopping at the Dollar Tree. Now, a lot of people have been complaining because the Dollar Tree no longer stands up to its name. The Dollar Tree is now priced at $1.25. But guys, you shouldn't be upset about that because everything that's in there is $1.25 is still a great value. And boy, did I find some deals for you guys. So a lot of people think, well, I go to the Dollar Tree, I buy something, it's smaller than what's in the store. Well, not always. So you really need to look around at the sizes and compare. So I did some comparison shopping for you. I did all the homework for you. All you have to do is head on out to the Dollar Tree. So the first thing that I got was this Polident Pro Partial Fluoride Mouthwash. Now, this is 16.9 ounces. This same mouthwash is being sold at Walmart for $7.72. Now, do I use this all the time? No, I've used it a few times when I had a coupon for it and I caught it on sale. But as I explained to you guys, if you truly want to save and you want to cut down on your budget and you want to be able to pay down some debt, put money up for a rainy day, you cannot be brand loyal. You have to learn to purchase what's on sale, what you have a coupon for, or what is a great value. So this right here is definitely a great value because it's $1.25 at Dollar Tree, as opposed to going to Walmart and paying $7.72. That's over a $6 savings. And it doesn't expire soon. Guys, the expiration date on it is 8/20/23. So I have to August to use this bottle of mouthwash. So I did grab a couple of these because, like I said, it is a tremendous value. The second thing that I purchased was the Derma Antiperspirant Secret Deodorant. This is 2.5 ounces. This exact deodorant is being sold on Amazon for $8. CVS used to carry it. I haven't seen it in the stores lately, but I remember at CVS it was $8 plus also. So Secret Deodorant, same size, same exact everything, same product that's on Amazon for $8 is being sold at the Dollar Tree for $1.25. Now, I did get this free. I purchased this on Saturday. And what I did is I used the $2 secret deodorant coupon that came out in the P&G insert. Unfortunately, Saturday was the last day to use that coupon because it expired on January 14th. But now that you know the Dollar Tree carries this, when your P&G insert comes back out in 2 weeks, make sure you clip that coupon and make sure you go to the Dollar Tree and get this deodorant. Now, although the coupon is for $2, you'll get this free. You won't get the 75 cents back because Dollar Tree does not give overage on paper coupons, but you'll get free deodorant. But if it was up to me, I still would pay $1.25 for this with or without a coupon. The next thing that I picked up was this toilet bowl cleaner. This is carried in all the Dollar Trees. This is a staple in Dollar Tree. It is $1.25. Very good cleaning product. And the best thing about this is I didn't pay $1.25 for this. I actually purchased this at $1.25, but then I submitted my receipt to coupons.com, got 50 cents back, so I only paid 75 cents for Lysol toilet bowl cleaner. And then you can also submit your receipt to Fetch and get a couple more cents back on this. And the last item that I got, and I saved the best for last because you can actually get paid to purchase these. Get paid to shop. That's the best kind of shopping I like to do. So Dollar Tree now has these Centrum men's mini vitamins. They are for immune support. It's 160 tablets, and they are $1.25 at Dollar Tree. But guess what? At Walmart, they cost $8.95. That is definitely a bargain, right? But let me show you how you can get these for free. You're going to pay $1.25 for these at the Dollar Tree. But then you're going to submit your receipt to coupons.com. Coupons.com has a $4 coupon on their site for this, on the app. When you submit your receipt, although you paid $1.25 for these, coupons.com is going to give you back $4. So basically, you're going to get paid $2.75 to purchase these men's vitamins. Even if you don't use these vitamins, still purchase them. Submit your receipt to coupons.com, get that $2.75 profit, and then donate them to a food pantry, a men's shelter, or give them to a man that you know uses vitamins. That way you could take that $2.75 and buy something that you actually use. And guys, those are my consumer tips for the week. I hope that you go to Dollar Tree and find some of these great values and look around. You may find some other values too.
Nicole, thank you so much for pinch hitting there and keeping the show going. I thank you so very, very, very much. I was running late from Hershey. I did a speaking engagement there. But we do have a very special guest on today. And you know Dr. Mark Miller, don't you?
Yes, I do. We were
All right,
chatting before you came on.
all right, excellent. Well, we're going to go on and get started with her. I don't want to waste any more of her time. But Nicole, thanks again. And we'll be talking about that wonderful program yesterday a little bit later on this week, okay?
All righty. Thank
All
you
right.
guys, and keep on saving.
All right now. God bless. God bless. Yeah, Dr. Mara Miller, how are you? You're muted right now.
I'm good. I'm
There you go. All
good.
right.
Happy
Good.
New Year,
Yes.
Dr. Gadsden.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you, and thanks for being patient. I actually was running late. The program went longer than what I thought it was going to go because I started at 9. I was supposed to go from 9 to 10, and then come back. And when I came in, I just started talking to my wife, and all of a sudden I realized I'm like, what? And I saw Brother Chris's message there. So anyhow, how are you doing? And you're on the East Coast these days, is that correct?
Yes, I
Okay.
am hailing from Florida today.
All right. So you do work all over the place. Go ahead. That's wonderful. Yeah. How was
Mhm.
your 2022 has come and gone. How would you assess 2022 for yourself?
It was definitely pioneering, and just really feeling like I experienced a whole other level of faith.
Mm,
And really so many blessings, so many blessings. So I have a lot of gratitude for 2022 and just looking forward to 2023 being a continued elevation, ascension,
beautiful.
if you will. Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. And this program, of course, is called Servant Leadership 101. And, just because we are servant leaders, don't mean we're not going to find ourselves with a whole lot of challenges and things. But even throughout those challenges, we do find blessings. And so I know that you're a very
Mm-hmm.
positive person, and I know that you overcome obstacles. That's what you do. So yeah. So how did you keep it together? How did you keep your faith in the midst of any struggles that you might have had? In 2022.
Wow. Yes, praying without ceasing, most
Mm,
certainly. I think that really was the foundation of me being held regardless of what I was experiencing. And um, I think really receiving guidance. So in that ongoing prayer, receiving ongoing guidance and in clarity about whatever might be presenting itself. So not just going by our perception and how we see things and how we process things based on our experiences, but it coming from a whole nother level of awareness of what is going on. So
yeah.
it really helped to not take things personal.
Hmm. That's a good point. Yeah, sometimes we do, and we think, why me? We think it's only happening to me, and that's kind of stuff. And then if it's someone else involved, sometimes we blame them for everything. It's their fault and this and that. And that's the human condition. And so, in order to stay positive, I like what you said, pray without ceasing. We have to stay connected to God, in conversation with God, and believe me, the devil he wants to talk to you all the time, so we can't give him any space and all that. You have a lot going on. You're doing a lot to help other people. So that's the other thing. As a servant leader, you've built up a practice where you are helping to guide other people through their trauma and stuff like that, through their issues. Um, how do you continue to stay focused when you have so many people coming at you? I know you have a number of different clients. When you don't start feeling as if it's just too much. How do you lighten that burden carrying other people's weight?
For one thing, I don't carry other people's weight.
Go ahead. Go ahead. There you go. Isn't that something? It's beautiful. What do you mean by
I
that?
had to
Tell me what you
learn
mean by
that
that.
real.
Mhm.
Woo! I got burnt out 3 times doing psychotherapy. I was like, we got to do this differently.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Because what they call it, compassion fatigue, and just straight
Passion
up,
fatigue. Yes.
mental health professional burnout.
Mhm.
And so I realized that the work that I needed to do had to be with God doing interventions, not me. I'm a smart cookie, but I can't figure out people's problems. I can't
Right.
figure out what is the best guidance to give them. And so when I was able to start my own practice and ministry of literally receiving from God what to tell people, I'm like, yeah, I can do this, not in the sense of me doing it, but maintain my health and well-being and sanity in the process of that.
That's right.
So,
That's
yeah.
right. Yes. Yeah, and a lot of people who want to go into, this field or the field of helping others, and that can be in many different ways. As a psychologist, counselor, life coach, whatever, a pastor, yeah, you enter into that space, and if you carry their problems, and like you said, I like what you said, I don't carry their problems. That doesn't mean you don't help them. That doesn't mean you're not there for them, that kind of thing. But it means you don't take on their problems as if it is your problem, and then get bogged down with it.
Mhm.
So many people do. They say they don't, but they're not trained well enough, and they do. And then next thing you know, they get that compassion fatigue and all that. And we can get pretty surly when we have compassion fatigue. After a while, we're pushing people away.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's an important lesson for all of us. In order to be a servant leader, when I say servant leader, what comes to your mind when I just say that phrase? You are a servant leader.
Ah, I would say it's understanding that my leadership is not about me or my education or my degrees or anything about me and my ego. It really is about coming from what Christ was focused on, coming from the heart and compassion,
Mhm.
and really the Holy Spirit. So, the Holy Spirit being our companion, our advocate, the one that carries us through everything.
Mhm.
So I would say that um, that's what being a servant leader or a service leader is for me, specifically for me,
Mhm.
is to be able to go out in the world and help people, but not from my ego, but from what God has coming through me to
That's
help people.
well said, well said. Yeah. And that's not to put anyone down. There are some people you say, and you wonder what they kind of come out with a motive, ulterior motive, or they're coming out to address something that needs to heal within inside of them. And it's really not about the person that they're working with, it's more about them. And yeah. I had a colleague say now just recently, really, he said he was once challenged by a person who looked at him and said, how come you are in this field? And wait a minute. She said, well, you have so many wounds, and those wounds are so obvious, and you seem to carry them like a badge, but yet and still you're in this helping field. She said, how can you do that? When it's obvious that you are still such a wounded,
Mhm.
what is that issue out there called the wounded healer? it's the name of the book actually.
Mm-hmm.
But it's telling you how to heal even through your own wounds. And sometimes we do, as he has admitted to me. He just said, she was right on. She said, I didn't want to accept it when she first said it. He said, but I haven't really addressed a lot of the wounds. So a lot of things that I was doing was kind of just, he said, but it really wasn't about the other person, it was about me. He said, I had to own that and accept that in order for me to
Mm-hmm.
actually start healing. I thought that was powerful. Sometimes it's hard to hear that
Mm-hmm.
voice
Mm-hmm.
of reflection, uncovering, that voice of uncovering. So your
Mm-hmm.
practice, tell people that don't know you, you have a practice and you are a servant leader. And tell people what you do in your practice.
Well, my practice is a heart-centered, focused practice and ministry. Um, and it's really about helping people heal from trauma and all the ways that shows up in their life. So their personal trauma, family trauma, and the transgenerational and intergenerational trauma that's passed down. So those things that are folks before us, the relatives before us, had experienced and never had an opportunity to heal for various reasons. A lot of times just had to keep it moving to keep the family together, and getting the basic needs, taking care of the family with their responsibilities. So I work with people with all kind of mind, body, spirit
Mhm.
concerns, issues, problems, challenges. So that can be anxiety, depression, worry, fear, um, grief, loss. As I mentioned, all types of trauma, sexual assault, domestic violence, people who are just trying to find themselves
Yeah.
and dealing with how things have been projected on them all their life. Well, you're this, you're that, you'll never be anything, all that. And to be able to excavate underneath all of that
Mhm.
and get to the real them and really have the support in bringing forth who they really are and being able to have, how can I put it, resources to navigate when other folks don't quite understand,
Mhm.
or feel the need to bring them back into the way that they were. Sometimes it is misery loves company.
Yeah.
Sometimes people don't like the idea that somebody else is having a different experience because it makes them start looking at their own stuff to address. So there's a lot of different things why people don't support other people trying to heal. And so I provide resources. We do individual relationships. So whether it's husband, wife, partners, mother, daughter, family members, and then groups.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And I want to make sure that people know how to reach out to you and that kind of thing. So we'll talk about that, before we go off the air, because there are some people out there who certainly need your practice, and maybe all of us do. And so, we want to make sure we identify that. You're a native of Harrisburg, and you've traveled around
Mhm.
the country. You live in different parts. Is there regional such thing as things that are particular to people in a particular region? Like when you're in Florida, do you see something that's different that would be in Harrisburg or in California or maybe Oregon or someplace? What have you noticed as you travel the world? Is it all the same? Or, the things that are peculiar to certain areas but more pronounced in certain areas of the country?
Mhm. Um, I think there are certain things that kind of pop out that there's more of a need to address certain things per se, but I see more of a lot of common themes, and particularly some of the experiences that our relatives had to experience in the South. Um, and so kind of talking about from slavery to Black codes to Jim Crow, that a lot of that is very much embedded on a much deeper level.
Mm.
And they may not another screen that came up, sorry. And they may not realize how much those experiences are affected. So I'm seeing that not only in the South, but in the North and in the West, because pretty much most of our ancestors have been in the South, particularly if they were enslaved. So that is something that I'm seeing, but how it shows up and how people navigate it is different.
Yeah. You know, we're honoring the work and life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And there have been many celebrations. In fact, that's the reason why I was kind of late getting on, besides my lapse in memory. And that is that I was blessed enough to be down in called the Catherine Hershey schools down there and working, talking to that staff about it. And that's had a glorious time. Just kind of lifting up what I know or felt about Dr. King. I'm going to ask you that. When you think about the work, the life of Dr. King, and all that he stood for, and all that stood against him, what does this celebration for you mean in the broader context? Why do we celebrate Dr. King's life, and what should we most concern ourselves with in terms of remembering him?
Well, for me, yes, I thank God that we do have a celebration for Dr. Martin Luther King on every year at this time. But I would say throughout the year, there's this awareness that what is possible when people come together, and knowing that something needs to be addressed, to be healed, to be resolved, and the power of the people coming together. So that's one thing. And then also the importance to not give up. So even when you have so much coming against you because you're trying to create movement forward and healing and providing, I would almost to offer that a new reality is possible, and to not give up on that ability to connect to people and inspire people and give them a deeper level of encouragement so that they keep on going as well, because we need multiple Dr. Martin Luther Kings in order to go to the next level. And we can't just keep on waiting for somebody else to get us there. It really has to be a movement of the people.
Yeah.
So that's what comes up for me with Dr.
Fantastic.
Martin Luther King.
Fantastic. I know he spoke a lot about the spirit, how we have to be careful that we don't have a violence of the spirit as well as violence of the body. And he spoke about that in his principles and steps of nonviolent social change. So, we can kill a person's spirit, or we can kill the spirit of a people, the spirit of a nation, even, without ever laying a hand on them, but just doing certain things to, really just tear them down, marginalize them, make them feel less than, make them always be the other, not us. They're the other, not us, that kind of thing. So you do spiritual work. When people come to you and they are troubled in their spirit, what most oftentimes brings people to you when they are dealing with a troubling spiritual, concern in their life? I mean, I know that's a broad question, but you see a lot of people, and I'm sure that there's some recurring themes that kind of come up for you as a therapist. So do you remember, or could you share with us just some of the basic themes that come up with most people that are dealing with spiritual issues today?
I gotta be careful to say this because we're on a live streaming here.
Yeah,
But I would say pretty much every condition that people have has a spiritual component.
No question.
So whether that's mental, emotional, or physical, all of them have a spiritual component.
Absolutely.
And so if we want to get more specific, as far as mental health and well-being, emotional, uh, depression, anxiety, insomnia, eating, uh, addiction. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So a lot of those major mental health concerns, conditions that people are dealing with definitely have very much a spiritual underpinning. And that's why the work that I do is getting to the root of what's going on, why it's showing up as that particular condition,
Okay. Okay.
which is
Yeah.
generally spiritual.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. You know, a lot of times people say, "Oh, it's the financial. Oh, it's the, like you said, the eating, the obesity. That's a big one. Sleep deprivation. But sometimes when you think about it, we're dealing with all this stuff because one leads to another, to another, to another. And so it's not like you just have that one issue that you're dealing with oftentimes. Oftentimes it is a preponderance of issues, but there's that root, as you mentioned, that is causing all this to happen. So yeah. Um, are you finding that? Go ahead, jump in there. Doc.
Dr. Gadsden, I do need to define what I mean by spirit.
Okay, that's good.
Because I'm sure there's some folks listening, they're like, well, how can eating be a spiritual thing? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
So when I say spirit, I don't just mean spiritual in the sense of how we look at religion, how we look at our spiritual component of how we have a relationship with God.
Right.
I'm talking about spirit also in the context that our bodies are spirit with varying densities. Okay, so what appears to be solid is really, atoms and then the smaller particles. And so we could consider this as a form of spirit, if you will. When we eat, when we're eating vegetables, we're eating fruit, each of those food items, they have a certain life to them. So some people would break it down that spirit actually is life. So if we're eating food that is, vital, it has spirit in it. And this is why we eat, is to get the nutrients and the vitality from that particular food. And so certain environments can have a energy or just a feel to them that the spirit of that place. So I'm talking about spirit in a much broader means. And so when we're talking about eating, yes, we eat to heal and to grow and to develop, but sometimes we eat because we're comforting ourselves. And so we're eating foods with energy that provides comfort, but not necessarily energy that provides nutrients. So the life of the food is what is feeding us, not just the vitamins and minerals.
That's powerful. Yeah. I like the way you said the life of the food, because oftentimes, I hear athletes in particular, excuse me, talk about what they eat. And there's this one lady who transformed her body after her sister died of obesity. She was 60 something years old, and now she's 89, I believe, and she is a world-class bodybuilder. And they keep lifting her up in the shoulder just the other day on some program I saw. She's lean and she eats a lot of eggs and nuts. And she said pretty much what you're saying, that there's life in those eggs and those nuts for her, the nutrients and the way, and she went through this whole thing. So it's not just athletes, people in general. We eat to live. It says, in fact, sometimes we describe it as lifting our spirits. It gives us energy, that kind of thing. Then there's those other foods that we know don't lift our spirits. They're more that, not a comfort food, but we call it a comfort food, but that big piece of cake I just ate, that ain't no comfort. I'm going to pay for that in the end. I'm humming and this and that when I'm eating it, but I know darn well that is not going to give me what I need. But there's something there saying, eat it, man. Go on, you might as well, that kind of thing. So it's a pleasure kind of thing. but not a comforting thing. In fact, you're troubled that you're eating it. You even get mad at yourself after it's all eaten. You say, why did I eat that cake? Well, you know why you ate it, but you don't want to admit that to yourself. But don't we treat life that way? Let's not just talk about food. And there are many things that we've availed ourselves to, or we get involved in, or we do, and we know it's counterproductive to our life force, but we do it. So, what are some of the root causes to why we do the things we do? You know, there was a song long ago. I know you remember the way we do the things we do, coming out of Motown. You know, the way we do the things we do. Why? Why do we do those things? What are you discovering in your practice? Why people do counterproductive things, even though they know they're counterproductive?
There's a lot of reasons. But if I was to distill it down, is that people need to be seen, affirmed, seen, heard, and affirmed.
Hmm.
And so if that whatever is somehow providing some benefit toward that,
Mhm.
it's better than nothing.
That's a good point.
Um,
Mhm.
and so, you know, some of the things that we know when we, especially kind of getting back into excess. So there's always balance and moderation. So when we start getting into excess of things that we know is not going to be building us up,
Mhm.
it's generally something in that that is still offering something to us why we do it in the first place. If we were getting no benefit out of it whatsoever, I would say, at least with the people that I've worked with, they don't see a mental reason to move forward. They don't feel a spiritual resonance to
Mhm.
continue to do that, because that's a whole nother thing. Something may be given something energetically or spiritually to that person, even though it's not necessarily positive, but they're
Mhm.
still getting something out of it.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I had another guest on, and we were discussing some around this area, and I remember making the comment that a professor once said that there's always a reason why we did it. There was always a payoff or a benefit, whether we want to acknowledge it or not, or whether we saw it as negative or positive. But there was a reason why we did it, and there was a payoff for us in some jaded way, you know. And that's a hard concept to kind of unpack, but it's true. Like you probably were in control. You could have said yay or nay, you know, well, they threatened my life. Okay, so you said yes because you wanted to preserve your life. But there was that benefit, there was that payoff. Or you ate that cake because whatever it was. But that getting to the root of it is understanding why it was beneficial to you, at least at the moment in your mind at that time. Now you sit back at it and you look and say, that wasn't beneficial at all, you know. And I always go back to that example of Judas, you know, he betrayed Jesus for those coins, you know. But when he came to his awokeness, his reality, he ran around and hung himself because he understood what he did. He probably knew as he was doing it, even when he betrayed him with that kiss, that he was wrong, there's two left shoes. But the benefit, the payoff, and then once he got there, it was sort of like, nah, I'm wrong. And so he went even deeper. He took his life. We don't have to take our life to be Judas. You know, we can find ourselves betraying ourselves and others, you know, fully aware of it. But there was a benefit. What was that benefit at that very time that you did that? Because you don't want to do that again, right? So, you know, we get into all that stuff. So, you know, again, the work that you do, I think, is just amazing. And you know, um, you've been doing this for a long time now. Tell us how long you've been on this path, this journey of being the person that you've become, helping others. How long?
Well, if my auntie would be able to weigh in, um,
Mhm.
she said that I've been doing this since I was a wee little girl. And she
There you
said that
go.
I had wisdoms that was way beyond my years. And
Mhm. Mhm.
I think I was probably like anywhere between 6, 7, 8 years old.
Yeah.
I've been doing peer counseling since I was like in elementary school. And
Mhm.
then high school. So yeah, I guess it's always been there. So yeah.
Mhm. And then there was a point in time, because you're right, it probably was always there. I mean, maybe this was just what God gifted you with or put in you and what the Holy Spirit's been leading you. But there was a moment when you realized this is your life work. And I don't know if you know when that moment was or when you came to that realization, what period of time. But once you embraced your life work, and that's what we're asking people to understand and to do, we're asking you to be a servant leader, but the question becomes, how do you serve? What is it that I could bring to, what gifts do I have, that kind of thing. So when you came to your awakening, what did you decide to do and how did you do it? And I know education was involved in there, but it had to be more than just going to school. What else was involved in your process?
Well, I guess it probably started with a prayer. Um, I had got accepted at the Institute of Transpersonal Psychology. And I asked God, I was like, if this is what it is for me to do, please bless me that I have the money to go.
Yeah.
And I got a full scholarship
Wow.
for my first year.
Uh-huh.
So I think that's when I really got clear or received clarity that this was a path. And when I had shared that I wanted the clinical psychology, the spiritual guidance, and the research and education certification, they were like, well, people only pick one. I'm like, I need all of them. I just knew that
Yeah.
intuitively.
Mhm.
And then even for my master's program, I took additional certification in creative expression. So
Mhm.
I think that was the time where I really started having an awareness, and then it kind of developed from there.
Mhm. You said something very important. You said when you first revealed that you wanted to do these, take these three paths, people said, wait a minute, folks only take one of those, right? So there must have been people who tried to advise you against that, but you knew what you knew and that did it. So when overcoming others' perception of what you need to do, overcoming the naysayers and all that, that's an important part of the process also for people who are on the journey. Let's just put it that way. Because there's always that someone's going to step up and say, "Well, it's not done that way. Why are you going to do this? Why are you gonna-" that kind of thing." Uh, and you just did what? Did you just shut them out? Did you decide, okay, I'll hear you, but do my own thing? What was your process of elimination?
Well, I mean, I know that they were trying to advise me, and that was their job and that was their responsibility. So I didn't see it um, as something that I had to internalize. I just, knew that this is what was important to me, and I needed to move forward with it and just trust that if this was what I'm being guided as important, then a way would be made. And the way was made.
All right.
Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, yeah. And and the school is now called Sophia University.
Oh,
So
really? Sophia. Okay. I was going
mhm,
to ask you about the school because I know the work that you did through there and everything, but it's now Sophia University. Okay. Check
mhm.
that out. Now, did you have to be on campus or they do online or how is that work done? Just curious.
Yeah, they have online and they have residential, and I was in the residential program.
I remember you were residential.
And it
Did you
was
go
a
to school?
dual program.
Wonderful.
It was a
Can you do
master's and
fully?
doctorate
Was
program.
that okay? Fantastic. Can you do fully online with the master's and doctorate or any one of those or do they ask?
I
Mhm.
I'm not sure how they have now. When I was in school, they had a master's online and a PhD. So I'm sure that they have specific types masters and PhDs that are available. So I would encourage you to look up Sophia, SOFIA University, and to kind of check out what they're doing now.
Yeah. Sounds like an excellent institution for anyone who is, interested. The reason why I ask the question is sometimes institutions offer online, but they also say that you must have a short residency, and that can stop people that, oh, I can't uproot and go here and all that kind of good stuff. But it's just interesting. But listen, I know we're going to run out of time, but it's always fascinating talking to you. So I hope this isn't going to be the last time. We'll keep this going. There was a time when you were on almost every week. We had that rolling there and everything, and it was wonderful time, and you did a lot of great work. And so what I am going to ask you to do though is to, as we finish up in there. So speak to the people any way you want to, the folks that are out there, and I saw that heart coming up with Brother Chris. Thank you, Brother Chris. Brother Chris is one of my heroes too. That guy, I mean, what he's done with this, the voice, and what he's getting ready to do, has just been incredible. And I know he's had a whole bunch of naysayers too, coming along, trying to, oh man, you can't, and look what he has done. So fantastic. I always lift that brother up because he needs to be lifted up. But speak to the people out there right now, and we only have about maybe 5 minutes or so, helping them to understand the importance of being a servant leader and also finding their path to being a servant. Everybody can't do it the way you do it or has to do it. We all do it in our own way, in our own path, but it requires something. What do you think it requires?
Really having time and space for oneself. So to actually have that space to dive down into oneself and nurture, mind, body, spirit, because you really do need all three to be focused on in health and well-being in order to do this work. Amen. There is no way that you can just, I'm just going to focus on spirit, or I'm just going to focus on, the body. I mean, it has to be holistic. And so with that, as you have that time and space to care for yourself, then that's when people start dropping down into new awareness. They get these insights, these epiphanies, because literally they have space where they're not focused on, oh, I got to get this done. How am I going to squeeze this in my schedule? All these things are responsibilities that people are depending on me. Right. And so how to prioritize that, but also look at what needs to come off your plate. And once that happens, then it can start coming to the surface what your truth is and what your purpose is and what's important for you to bring forth. Some people say why you're here, and so I feel that once you're able to reflect and have that conversation with God, because that's a whole nother thing. You can, when we're in situations like, God, I hope you're listening. But when we have that space, we really got space to send the call out and receive, how African folk call and receive. Yeah. To get that prayer out and then receive the guidance. And so I think those are the things that I would offer in order for a person to really tap into what that is, have the strength, the endurance to keep going, and for those resources that they need to come to them in miraculous ways.
It will, no question about it. And I so appreciate the fact that you lifted up that we have to address all three. And when we're honest with ourselves, we know what's missing. We know where we're lacking. And so why hide from yourself? Why not just simply get about the business of doing it? Well, there's a lot of reasons why we don't. And I'm sitting here, I just got through doing a wonderful speech in terms of the audience participation. And it was just a great time. I was glad to have that opportunity to speak, but at the same time to interact with. But I realized something about myself. I was struggling physically, and now that I'm 72 years old, I can't do what I used to do when I was 21. Now I already know that. But the question is, am I ready to, as you said, you got to take some things off your plate, The cake got to come off the plate. And so, I got to get really serious about that. And I will always say that I've always appreciated you, that you're an encourager. You've never wavered. You've never given excuses or let people have excuses, but you at the same time are very, gentle in your approach and also extremely clear in your voice. And so I hope you never change that. And so I know that you and I are going to be doing some work together. We always say but it's going to happen. And so we're going to make it work. But I hope that all the folks out there who listen to this program, and never take it seriously, I don't know what you did yesterday or the day before, 10 years ago, but I know what you can do today and in the future. But we all have to get smart about it. We have to be serious about it. We just have to face ourselves. And I think what Dr. Miller was just saying, we have to start with ourselves and drill down and really get serious about it. Because we all need to be servant leaders. We are called to be servant leaders. Whether or not we are is up to us, because God has given us the mechanism. He's given us the ability. He's given us this time. This is called the time, right? And we're here to do it. So let's just get about the business of doing it. I hope that we can get Dr. Miller back again, and I'm going to step out the way and just let her kind of go and do her things, because she has so many great concepts that she can offer. And we hope to make that happen in the future. But Dr. Miller, thank you again. Let me know how we can be of assistance to you in your programs and in your services and everything that you do. And we'll do the best we can to help, And we really appreciate you taking time to do this. Yeah. So everybody, go enjoy yourself, celebrate Dr. King's tremendous legacy, his work. But remember now that you are a carrier of King's spirit. The choice is up to you, how you would carry it and what you would do with it. But don't think that it's not been implanted in you. It has been, as has, the Spirit of Christ. If you so choose to, you may decide to go another direction. That's okay. But don't think it wasn't there and it's not available to you. It certainly is. God bless you. Be strong. Keep the faith. And we'll see you next time here on Servant Leadership 101, right here on The Voice, 17104 Harrisburg. Oh, Dr. Miller, how can people reach you? I almost forgot. How can people reach you?
My website, mylivingsanctuary.org. It's all one word. And you can also reach me by email, dr.myra at the same website at mylivingsanctuary.org.
Here it is.
So feel free to reach out, and I look forward to hearing from you and see how I can be of help.
Thank you. I know you can. God bless you. See you now. Goodbye.
Okay, God bless.
God bless. Oh, that's coming up tonight, in fact. Thank you for getting that up, Brother Chris. And that's tonight at the Civic Club in Harrisburg. You all see that? It starts at 6 p.m. Hope that you'll be there. Be square. You see there's some outstanding poets there. Shanita Baltimore, Rick Kearns, Maria, James Child. We're going to all be in the house. God bless you. Goodbye.